One, and we are live. This is our first podcast, little test we're doing, but I think it's going to be great. It's called The List. It's four of us. My name is Felipe. There is Ronnie, Devin, and Isaac. I'm just introducing you guys. Sorry, but I'll let you guys speak in a little bit. This is a podcast about everything related to NFT and anything that could come with it. We just came up with a project called Groms. It's an NFT project. It's picking up some steam right now, thanks to Isaac with putting us on a couple media sources out there. And out of this NFT project, we're really just branching out. We're about diversity, especially through surfing, and we want to be very transparent and talk about it as much as we can, and especially our experience with NFT, which is fairly new. So. Welcome, everyone. Let's talk about things.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about how it all started. So Felipe is probably the man behind everything. Gosh, when was it? Back in around Thanksgiving, he starts telling us about this NFT space. Like, hey, you could buy these things, and I think at that time he was looking at flipping them, but he got in early on that Adidas project and a couple of others. And I remember me personally, I was just like, this is a joke. What are you talking about, man? Like, nah, this isn't real.
Same.
And then the more and more we kind of just dove in, it was just so intriguing, to be able to take a look at it and say, yeah, let's get in on something early like this. This is something that, could be absolutely fantastic. So,
I remember, like, I think actually. Back when I was in Brazil, that was in May, like May to June. Like I saw Gary Vee talking about it, and I was like, I should get on this. But it was right before like Noah, my son, was born, and then it was like too many things. I was planning on coming back to US, and I just couldn't get to it. I was like, I need to learn about this. Like I like this. Like it's right out my alley. Like it's art with technology. There are two things that I really like. That's the first impression that I had, it was like, man, this thing is interesting. So I kept that in the back of my head. And then when I got to US, I had some time and I was like, I'm going to like really get into this. And the first one I saw that I really wanted to get was Hate Beast. And I just couldn't get to it. I was like, and then out of nowhere, I saw the Adidas one. I was like, man, like I'm going to stay up for this. And I stayed clicking. I was like clicking. It was like, no, you cannot mint. And I got like, no, I was like, hey, click it for me. I was just like, man, I couldn't get it. And then like after out of nowhere, I got Noah, and Noah was clicking on it, and like, poof, congratulations, you got two. I was like, what? And I thought it was fake. I was like, nah, man, I think I got scammed. and then I went and looked, and I was like, it's there, And I was like, oh, this looks sick, And that was right then and there. I was like, okay. And then I got super into it and went on. And my first good flip that I had was Junior Punks. It's like the version of Punks but Junior, but they're not big now. But I bought it for like 0.1, oh no, 0.05, I think. And I sold it 3 days later for like 0.6.
Man.
I was like,
that's decent.
Yeah. And I was like, I need to get everybody on this. I was like, I'm going to let everybody know, like this, man, like, I don't know where this is going, but this is good. I like this, And the Junior Punk that I got, I really liked. Like, I didn't want to sell it. Like, it was like, you had like a blue mohawk. You had like a...
You were so stoked on it. You were so stoked on it.
You had the cross earring, like the hanging one, and I was like, man, I don't want to sell it. Like a guy offered me. Remember, a guy offered me 0.6 before, and I was like, nah, thanks. And then I saw it coming down. I was like, man, if I don't sell this right now, I'm not gonna be making money.
That blue hair.
That blue hair.
After that. yeah.
Once those offers start to come in.
Yeah. And then I sold it, and then I was like, man, like I need to do something like this. And I called Isaac. Isaac was on board. He was like, man, yeah, for sure. Like this is down your alley. Like, and then I like let everybody know. And I was like, back in my head, I was like, I don't want to be like trying to sell things to people, especially to my friends, but I'm gonna be doing something with this. And if I don't let them know now, once they see me big, I'm gonna feel bad, like.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Well, it's like I feel like it's like anything in life. Like you put us all up on kind of game on that. I feel like, but once you start to hear something, you end up doing your own research on it, right? And then you see, wow, this is like there is something big here. Like you threw it out to me, and I was like complete opposite, right? I'm not huge in digital art. I'm not huge in that space at all, really. But I think I kind of, when I did my own research, it was like, it took me a while, but then it started to click. And that's what I was going to throw on you, Felipe, like, because you're the pioneer for, I think, a lot of us here. When did it click for you?
I think it clicked for me when I got into like the Discord channel, and I was like, I saw the chats, and it was like, and I have so many. I had to quit a lot of the Discord channels because I was like addicting, like joining all of them because I was like, there is a lot of people behind this, and then and you, like you said, like you do your own research and you find your like things that make sense to you, and you're like, man,
that's the coolest thing about this. Like you could, if you search for it, you will find something. You will find the art that you love. You'll find the project that you want to support. There's absolutely a different space for everybody, and that's what I love.
I think out of everybody, when I talked to Isaac was already kind of like kind of
talking about it.
Yeah, well, I remember going to, this is right before we went to Hawaii, Ronnie, and I was at Felipe's house.
Yeah,
and at the time, like in Q4 2021, we were like moving money on like, okay, we're putting it on Bitcoin today. Okay, we're putting it on Ethereum. And, what's the next altcoin? Was it Polkadot? Was it, there were so many different Dogecoin or whatever it was. But whatever it is. But we were, just trying to play the market that way. I remember asking Felipe, I'm like, hey, like with these NFTs, like this seems like it's something that would be aligned with what you do. Like you have a background in graphic design, you're investing in cryptocurrency and following the market. He's like, Isaac, you have no idea. I'm obsessed. We sat there. We sat on his table. We're going through it. I'm like, yeah, that's sick. Okay. He's like, yeah, man, I'm thinking about doing something. And then we went to Hawaii, Ronnie and I. We come back, and obviously it's not top of mind for me. But then, Felipe's kind of like working this angle. Devin, you're a part of this. Ronnie, you're a part of this. And I remember Ronnie hits our group chat like, hey, guys, if anybody's interested in this NFT stuff, just letting you know we're starting something. It's the last chance, last dance. And I'm like, oh, I got to get back on there. What's up, guys?
Yeah.
What's up, guys?
Yeah, we had that meeting.
That was perfect. It was perfect because it was like the perfect receipt for like our group of friends to be like, hey, this was like dropped on this date, on this time. WhatsApp shows you who read the message.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, come on, guys.
And it was at that moment I refused to join. or you joined.
Yeah. That was me. I was like,
when it really.
I think that was the cool thing about everything that was going on, right? Because you see all these projects that are popping up, and I remember talking to Felipe, I'm like, how hard is it to be able to create your own project? How hard is it going to be able to produce NFTs to send out? Because this is something, if the four of us are in something, we can make something fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
sure.
Sorry to cut you off, Isaac.
No, but to Devin's point, like, when did it click, right? This is, at first it was like, okay, Felipe, you did your research, like, we're rolling here. But I remember joining a Twitter space on NFTs, and I think it was NFT Update, like this, you guys follow him. And he had this Twitter space, and working in talent, you hear like, oh man, like nobody's going back to work as a recruiter. Nobody's going back to work. Like everyone's like, we're in this phase where like people were like finally put up on the game. Like, why do I have to go back to this job that's paying me to be in poverty? And then going to this space, this Twitter space, and like just hearing people and the diversity of people that were in the conversation on NFTs, right? Like from all walks of life. And it just hit me. I'm like, whoa, like this community is insane. Like there's people from all across America, the world, that were
Mhm.
just like super passionate about this technology's ability to build communities.
Yeah,
I was like,
Massive.
damn, there's something here.
and
There's
Massive.
this is not going away.
dude, I'm a
Yeah.
sucker for new things, and I'm like, oh, new, what's new? Like, like and
You
this
love
thing
your
is like,
shiny things.
yeah, that I was like, what's like, new, like in terms of like technology, you know? I'm like, dude, like, what is something that is like that, like, you know, everybody's like, man, like, I regret not getting into Bitcoin, you know, when it was back then, or I regret not being like not getting to stocks of Facebook back then. Or I don't remember like not
Starbucks.
investing on the internet, you know, like, and you start looking at these, hearing these stories, and you're like, yeah, I you know, I fucked up on all of those, and then now it's like there's something that clicks to you. It's not just getting into it because it's kind of like a fad or anything like that. It's because it clicks to you. Like that was the main thing. Like it clicked to me. Like this is an NFT for me, as we always talk about, like in our meetings, is like it's an entry point for what you want to do. First, when I was telling you guys like, oh, get an NFT, get an NFT, I have these like shells and beads from Tahiti that have been there, like that I keep. That I was like, that was going to be my NFT. I still have pictures. I took like 180 pictures, and I was calculating how many pictures I had to take per day to hit like 2,000. And I still have it, like, because I wanted to do those to like help something, you know. Like I was like, if I sell these, like I could help like diversity somehow, because that was in Tahiti, but it didn't really like, it was kind of like forced, like at first for me on that stuff. And then when we all got together, I was like, once we get together, because we all think alike, I was like, then it's going to be a project that makes more sense. And that's where Groms was like, man, Groms is like, represents, Groms is, you know, for people that are listening, is like, it comes from Grommet, which is like younger kid that like is in a board sport, you know, surfing, skating, snowboard. But for us, it represents like where we are right now in the NFT space. Like we're all young, learning, eager to learn and share, and that's kind of like what Groms is. And then because I work at the World Surf League and have a connection to surfing, it just makes sense. And then partnering with like Black Girl Surf and everything else, it makes sense on like that on diversity, uh, um, tragedy that we always done it. We just never put like a business towards it. We just always like believe in it, but we never put our heads together and done something. We've always talked
There's
about
never
it
a
too.
platform. There's never a
Yeah.
platform for us to do something that was bigger. You know, and this is
Exactly.
kind
We
of
talked about
creative.
like, oh, let's create a business that supports, you know, this or that, and we just never knew, like, okay, we how, what, you know, and that NFT to me, that's what brought us into this project, and it's an entry point, you know. It's we always say that, and I believe it. Like it's something that will like build to a lot of other things.
Yeah, for sure.
The diversity piece is something that it's always been like we can't escape that bit, right? Like even if like whenever we have barbecues, like all of us, like there's just a lot going on. You know, like you have to have a palate for a lot of stuff. That's just what it is. If whoever's ever invited to the cookout, there's just so much going on because it's like you got Brazil, you got Uganda, you got Argentina, you know, then you have like Southern California. So it's so much that we like try to bring to the table. And then there's some things that, you know, we went on a trip maybe and you're like, okay, let me just try this recipe, and maybe it lands, maybe it doesn't, but you know, we're constantly trying to, you know, like
Yeah.
experience new cultures and like reintroduce them to our family, to our community. And so the diversity piece, the fact that we can spend a significant amount of our time like doing something that's super true to who we are as people. It justifies the late nights, justifies the early mornings, the time away from family, like because we know it's something that's like it's like aligned with who we are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then just to talk about a little bit now that we're talking about Grom specifically, or you know, or plan to it, or plan for it is that once we sell out, our plan is to start getting houses across the country. Obviously, Brazil is the
World.
easiest.
World.
Yeah,
The world.
Sorry,
Yeah, the world.
around the world. Brazil is the easiest for us because I'm from there. The currency's like lower, so it's cheaper to get. So the money that we get, most of it will get to that first property, and then once we have that property, holders will get like a huge discount. We're still figuring out once we get to that amount, to see how much we have or how much the place is. Holders will probably get like 80% off or like 50. We'll see, probably 80, and then holders that have like 4 or more will get like free access to that property. And then before that, we will raffle about 3 or 4 trips around the world. We'll probably do like Maldives or Hawaii, South Africa, and Bali. Like these are the places that we've been to. We kind of know, and we could like tell people where to go and everything. But we buy the flight and the hotel. That's the 2 major things that we can offer. And then obviously we have Black Girls Surf that we partner with. That will donate money to them, and then we'll let everybody know how much we donate to. And that to me is like a good beginning. Like that's a great start. And once we get to that, and we see how the project keeps building and the community reacts, then we either keep doing more raffles for trips, and obviously we start buying more properties.
Costa
well, that's
Rica.
the thing with the NFT, right? Like I kind of threw you guys all on the spotlight. Like, hey, how did it click for you guys, or when was it that it clicked for you guys? I think it was like this right here, what we're talking about right now.
Mm-hmm.
Is what it like actually is when it clicked for me. The whole NFT non-fungible token was like super foreign. I was like, what does that even mean? Like, that's when we did the research and we started to learn like, okay, digital asset. Okay, it's an asset. What does that even mean? Then we started to dive into all these different discords, all these different projects, and you're like, well, what are they? Wait a second. So outside of this super cool art that this certain project that you're into, they're going to like offer these things that if you hold this specific NFT, you're going to have access to. And that's when I was like, whoa, this is heavy. This is endless. Like, and like you said, this is just a starting point, right? But we literally can write our own future, like with the Groms, and that's what we want to do. And I think that's like what makes it super unique is we can kind of write our own script to, the diversity and inclusion aspect of what we together as a group of friends grew up with, wanting to be a part of it. We can create our own script, and then with that, giving people access to that is like, it's super cool. It's exciting.
It's huge, and I think seeing and living in different cultures is something that creates a buzz in the mind and in the heart, in the soul, right? So I even think about this last weekend. Isaac's daughter had her first taco, right, from Germany, and I have a bit of some Mexican heritage. Made some fresh corn tortillas, some carne asada, and just seeing like, wow, this is what people eat from these areas. Like, and for me, food is like massive. I wish I could, something that would be part of this would be part of like the food aspect of it, but going to different places, going to different parts of the world and experience life through culture, through food, through just all different types of experiences is just makes you think differently. And I think,
yeah.
I just want to, on the record, I want to say that like Ronnie's tortillas, homemade with his mom's tortillas, though. She's the grandmaster.
His mom's tortillas are next level. Let's be real.
I couldn't let this podcast go without acknowledging.
No, you definitely set the record straight.
The flour tortillas are a million times better, and I could never replicate it.
But that's the thing. I mean, like in LA, we have so much like access in Southern California in general. We have so much access to so many different cultures of food, right? Mm-hmm. But there's something to be said about like being in a certain place and having their food there, right?
Oh, yeah,
totally. It's the ingredients. Mm-hmm. I mean, we get little pieces of it with our own, family recreating their moments when they live there, right? And trying to pass it along generation to generation for us to have that. But like, let's be real. When we go to Mexico and have a taco there too, it's like, wow, this is
It's different. It's different. I tend to say like to people like, man, when you get to a country like or a different place that you go to, everything is good. Like a fart smells good. You know, like because dude, like
what was it? A fart smell?
a fart smells good. Dude.
I don't know about that.
Bro, like everywhere you go, like if you get to a place and you're loving it, like I'll give you a perfect example. Like this happened with Devin. He didn't even know. He got to Hawaii. This is where
I didn't have
my wedding.
I didn't have a fart smell taco. I know that. That's the thing.
Devin got to Hawaii, and I'm like, he drove like right to where we're staying, and then like I had just cut pineapple, and we're just right there on the balcony, and then I was like, hey Devin, you want some pineapple? He's like, yeah. I gave him the pineapple. This dude eats it. He goes, best pineapple I ate in my life. And it was like,
hey, hands down.
It probably was,
Hey.
but the experience probably add a lot to it, you know. Like if you ate that
100%.
same pineapple at home, maybe it would, but maybe it wouldn't. Like I always tend
Well, one
to say
thing
that, like
for sure,
you
the papaya though.
the papaya that we ate there.
Well, no, I'm saying like you're saying, yeah, the experience adds to it, but I'm like saying, nah, the papaya for sure was like definitely different than here.
The papaya for sure. It was just a standalone. Just
yeah.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? Like what I'm saying is like when you get to a place, everything's different because you're so excited to learn about that. It's almost
true.
easier
yeah,
to learn.
I would give you that. You get to a new place, you're traveling, and like you have some gas build up. You're like, let's go. This is perfect. You release it and you just relax, and you're like, maybe next to this beautiful scene, I'm not worried about this smell.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, Isaac, so you were in Germany for what, 3 years, 4 years?
2 years, yeah. I was in
2
Germany
years.
2 years. The one, and that's everyone talks about. Like, I mean, traveling is so exciting. You know, obviously Felipe and his work took him all across the world. You know, we could talk about all the places you've been in like an episode series, right?
Maybe.
Like, I mean, like really, you could talk about Portugal, Brazil, Hawaii, all the best places. You've been
Fiji,
at.
yeah.
But I think with me living in Germany, it was great to see just how that culture works. It helped me understand my wife, helped me understand my daughter, just to understand like how they go about what's important to them, what's their values, what are their values, you know, how do they go about success. You know, sometimes, you know, in our society we might measure success differently, and theirs I feel like it's more like just being a master of your craft. It's not necessarily like, oh, like we're going to look down on you because you have this job. It's more so, hey, we're going to evaluate not the job you have, but how well you do the job that you do have. Like, how well are you at what you do? How good are you at what you do?
That's interesting.
Be an expert. Like, that's kind of like the mentality. So that was good to see, to learn. And I think a lot for our NFT project, I know that we talked a lot about like, okay, like what can we actually say that we're gonna do without like, because we didn't want to like promise anything that we couldn't deliver. You know, we didn't want to like, oh, like, hey,
Fire festival,
this, like Lamborghini or whatever. You know, so the traveling, you know, having a place in Brazil like that we can serve as like a foundation for us to branch out in that community. Like, these were super important things for us. Like, they were really hard coded and they meant a lot to us, enough for us to put our names behind the fact that we're going to do this, right? Like, because I remember it was a thing, right? Like, we talked and we're like, what should we, like, what can we say? What do we want to say? We want to be grounded in the truth. But those principles of travel, you know, having a base in a place and being able to kind of start to build from there, those are very, very key. And of course, having a nonprofit partner, we didn't want to go into a situation pretending to be the experts. We wanted to partner with an expert and like, how can we be of service? So
I still can't believe
learn from it and grow. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's
we had an idea of doing our own nonprofit organization. Remember, we're like, let's think about things that we
How long did that last? It's like,
Yeah, we're
oh
like-
man, that's gonna be way too hard to start up.
I was like, we know people that does well. Like, why would we do different? You know, like, and then like what you said, Isaac. It's like we wanted to do something where it's true to us. Like
Yeah.
we all
Yeah.
been in like projects, and we invested in projects that didn't go well, but they were promising a bunch of stuff. Like you get a Tesla, you get this, you get that. You know, it's like, can we promise that? Like mathematically, does it make sense if we do that? Sure, we can. We can, but is that true to us? Not really. Like,
No.
we're not about
Also, what is the long term play on that, right? Like,
Yeah.
okay, you win the Tesla, and then what? Okay, that's cool. I mean,
And
think about, like-
everybody else is out. That's it.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Like think about that. Like,
Yeah.
like we are building. Like initially, what we're thinking, right? 3,000 NFTs, 3,000 Groms. So we basically have a community of 3,000 people that are with us, like directly. You know, like, and those people could share the same things that we share. Like if we have places all over the world, it's basically theirs too, for as long as they hold the NFT. If they feel like they want to make money off the NFT and it's worth to them, then do it, like sell it. But if you want to be part, I'm not saying one way or the other is better, but it's we're basically building a network that all agree on what we're building. And like Devin said, like it's long term. We keep building on top of it, and these people that invest in us who have this access and benefit that we work towards. And
yeah,
you know, 3,000 is not a lot of people when you think about, and we could do all the things together. Like that's the cool thing about it. Like we could offer, you know, like whoever pulls this gets a Ferrari. Whoever gets this is like, but then what? You know, like what does that make us? You know,
right.
And what
Even
is
when
it?
you look in our
And what does that do
Discord
to
chats,
support
like,
the community too, right? Like, what's a Lamborghini going to do to kids in the inner city?
yeah,
Right,
exactly.
How does that help them?
Like these
Yeah,
houses
I mean,
could later be
and-
institutes. It could be a bunch of stuff that, like, you know, we could start building on top. Like that's my dream, you know, like to have like institutes
Yeah.
all over the world to help kids with
Exactly.
education, sports. Obviously, we're doing surfing now
Yeah.
because it's easier for us. But in terms of like connecting, but my dream, and I know we talk about this, is our dream is to have a network of things like that could actually benefit like a community. And if that expands into Metaverse, that's why we're not even touching Metaverse too much yet, because we're just waiting to see where that's going to take us. But right now, it's like it's what we can build for like a community that we talk about.
And also give access to other people some of the nitbits of experience that we got to have, that we were fortunate to have, that we have to live as well, but to put them in those places, you know, they can be hopping on, like you said, it's a long-term play, but they could be hopping on this recording with us 2 years from now and be like, hey, remember those platanos in Costa Rica? Or
Yeah.
remember the waves we caught in Jaco? Like,
Yeah, exactly. That's the plan. You
Yeah,
know?
but-
Go ahead.
well, I guess when you see like these other projects and like their offerings, like Teslas or whatever it could be, you know, if that's what they're about, cool, right? Like,
Yeah,
if
and
they're
I'm
like,
not.
"Hey, we need-"
Yeah,
you know, that's great. Like, not knocking that, but it's just like it was also really important for us to do something that reflected who we are, and that's why I love our Discord chats. When you see people that initially like, it's usually like someone's like, "Hey, I heard about y'all. I like the artwork. What are you guys doing? All right, when's this gonna drop?" A couple of general questions, but then they start to see some more info, like, "Oh, you guys are partnering with Black Girl Surf. Oh, you guys are focused on diversity. Oh, that's cool. Hey,
Yeah.
I know this organization that I used to work with. Check out what they do. Oh, hey, there's this other org that I used to work with. Oh, yeah, hey, I've been volunteering with them for like 9 years straight. I saw that today, right? And it's
Yeah.
like now we have not just 4 people talking about like what they can do for their communities. Now we have, you know, well, I guess official numbers are like around 1,000 or so, but now we have more people that are going to be talking about how they can be of impact. And when we have that synergy, then we make real change happen, right? Then,
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
then we can really move the needle on these
Exactly.
things. So it's been great to see people.
Yeah, that's well put.
Because Discord, you could download it on your phone, iPhone or Android, and you can check in, just like when you're on a walk, and it's good to see that our space offers like this place where people are not thinking about like so much about ego, like self, but also like how we're all connected and like how we're trying to impact, someone else, and think about that altruistically. So that's been really fun to see in our Discords.
Yeah, and I remember
sure.
like when we started, right? We were like putting money in it, like doing all these things and like figuring out, learning a lot of it, and we were kind of nervous, like is people gonna like it? Like, is this gonna be successful? And then we had a meeting with Ro, the owner of like Black Girl Surf, and we got out the meeting, and we were like, okay, we already won. Like this is worth
talking about synergy.
Yeah. Yeah, we had this great conversation with her. She's amazing. Like, she's so inspiring.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
We have so much to do with her. Like that right there already got us in to work with her. And that, to me, was like, okay, everything that we do now is extra. Like, it's this right here, working with her is what's this whole project is already worth doing. Like,
well, and to see what's happened on her end too, man. It's been a really cool story to see. And I know these have been a lot of things that have been kind of behind the scenes, but that the release of Hurley's brand, Black Girl Surf through Hurley,
a partnership, yeah.
It's so cool to be able to see that, the awards that they picked up, and I still laugh because we had a short list of nonprofit organizations we wanted.
Short list of one.
Short list of one. We're like, well, if she doesn't get back to us, then let's put a secondary list together. And like, it's so cool. She responded instantly. Here's my number. Just give me a call. Yeah. And I remember getting off the phone with her because they stuck me on recruitment. And I'm like, hey guys, I think she's in. And I'll tell you this much: I can't think of anybody else I've ever had a first conversation with where I feel like we could throw her into our group and it's going to be a seamless transition.
Yeah.
And sure enough, I mean, what a blessing.
Yeah, you're like, she reminds me of my
transition.
sister.
It was like seamless transition. No, she like uplifted us. Like,
yeah,
we're like, yeah, she's
every time
one
we
of
talk
us.
to her, we're like pumped. Like, we need to do more.
It's like, we gotta do more. We gotta do better.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, dude. Like, just having her on our corner is like, we still like, we're gonna like volunteer, do a bunch of stuff. Like, that's just besides what we're doing. Like, and if we can promote to more people volunteering, then it's amazing. I mean, imagine what we can start building on top of it. Like, that to me was like the turning point too. Like, what this whole project was like damn, like that. This is a confirmation that we're in the right path. Like, we chose the right things to do. Like, every time I think about it, like I get so excited. And you guys know, we just we have meetings. We're just wilding out. Like, we're so stuck. Like, man, this is great.
Oh yeah,
100%.
Yeah, that meeting with Ro was phenomenal, and she's definitely a person that's like deserves all the praise, all the kudos, and like hearing her story about like Inkwell, because I didn't know about Inkwell, the NPO that was focused on boys and men, and on that side, and it's like, okay, so she launched the boys side of it, and then also launched Black Girls Surf, but the girls side of it like kind of took off, right? And so just seeing that there's also like this other area, that she's also super passionate about, and can obviously like, said that we could mentor there, and that was just like, absolutely next level. Like, I've always thought like, man, how can I get back into my community in a way that is like really impactful and really aligned with some of the things I like to do, like surf and what have you, and just hearing about that program Inkwell, I was like, whoa, like challenge accepted. Let's go. Like how?
Yeah.
Like when do we sign up? I think Ronnie was like, already ready at the bits. Like, all right, guys, I'm gonna need your IDs. I'm gonna need send me everything you guys got. All right, I need to run your fingerprints just in case.
Yeah.
Hits us back tomorrow. You guys are ready.
Ronnie was
I'm
like,
like, oh, it's like that. All right.
Ronnie was,
Well-
he was ready.
Well, it's
He was
wild.
like, I need everything submitted to go.
I'd coached for so long, so I know how like the background check and all. Because when you're doing with kids, you got to have all that stuff done. But I'm like, I have weekends off, guys. Like, I got my little ones, but yeah, let's do this. She's dad. Let's go. Let's figure something out. Let's get some boys together.
And I think
so FBI mode real quick.
I think the aspect of her, like, did you say dad mode real quick?
FBI.
Oh,
FBI mode.
FBI.
Everybody go.
I guess dad mode too. But.
That mode sometimes. Yeah.
Most of the time.
But I think to what Isaac you're saying though too, like I think like her being in this for 20 plus years, and like that last convo that we had with her was like, she's like, I've been in this for 20 plus years, and now everything is just starting to click. And I think what an amazing time for us, for the community that we're creating, to be working with them and how we can volunteer and support someone that's been at this for 20 years. Like like how much better like timing does that get, right? Like, and I think, she said that she's fortunate to have us on board, but we're more than blessed to like have her and the team and be a part of that team, and what we're going to bring with our community to that too, I think is just the recipe for success.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
and she's like,
and we're just seeing kind of the tip of the iceberg, like you said, 20 years of work. So I mean, a lot of what our community sees is, this amount of work that we're putting in, or this amount of work that's being put out versus all the work that's been put in underneath the surface.
Oh,
so,
right.
Yeah, and like the thing that connected with us too, like with her so well, is that how real she is. She doesn't beat around the bush. She's not trying to sell you something. Like, and that was the first thing we all talked about. Like, if we're gonna do a project, it's gonna be honest, it's gonna be transparent. Like, no BS. Like, we're not trying to sell people into something. Like, it's like I'm not trying to upsell people. Like, we're just trying to like honestly build a community. Like, if we can build a community with an entry point is NFT, and everybody that is in this community get like a similar experience and similar mindset like that everyone has, then it's a great foundation for what we can build like 5 years from now, 10 years from now. When we started talking about NFT, that's what we said. Like, we need to get on this now because it's 5-10 years from now, we don't know where it is, and we need to be the experts on it like 5 years from now. Like, our names need to be like thrown around like these guys did something different, not because it was NFT related, like, oh, let's all jump in this technology, but they did it with like the realness behind it. That's kind of like I think our goal is, like it's got to be like a realness. I'm not saying like real world. I'm just saying like realness of like as an intent, like as like connecting people.
It's pure intentions to be able to build up a community. I think all of us are kind of listening to Gary V. And gosh, I don't think there's anybody better to follow in this space. The passion that he has, and the true desire of like wanting to do better for the world.
Yeah, everybody talks about Gary Vee for a reason. He jumps on the on the new things quick. He's fast to figure it out, and he keeps it real. Like, he has his thing. So. It's a great person to follow, and I think we have our own thing. Like, we have our own like goal, which has always been like connect people. We just didn't know how, and this is perfect.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few projects out there too that we've been following for a while. Woman Rise, right?
Yeah,
and what they're creating, and
she's done an amazing job.
Every single day it seems like there's a collaboration or they're making some major movement towards, whatever their goal may be, such as
girls' education, mental
girls'
health,
education, girls' advancements, women's advancements in the tech space,
celebrating women that have made a difference. Like, Women Rise is perfect example of a great like real project. Like
Yeah,
they like she's an artist, and so she created that out of pleasure.
and and
Um,
activist
an activist.
Yeah, I think when
and
Isaac,
and
that's
activist.
when I got like when Isaac sent that to me, the artist behind this, a little bit of a
Oh, yeah.
backstory. I was like, wow, this. I think that might have been around the time when it was starting to click for me what this NFT space actually meant and what it is capable of doing, and what you can do with a project in general.
Yeah, that was Isaac's
the movement
find.
that you can.
He found
That
that.
was,
It was great.
that was a solid find,
What?
Isaac.
That you know what though that was aligned with how I envisioned our project being, right?
Exactly.
Real people doing the work that that are still approachable, no means experts, but they're just doing the work. They're just doing the work. And
Well, she's an expert now.
well,
Well, yeah,
I mean,
the NFT, but she's
But
being
I'm
an
saying,
activist.
like,
can be, yeah.
I'm saying to have that foresight to see like beyond just the artwork, just the people running the project, but like to look at you basically did what Ronnie was saying, a background check on the lady to find out like who is this person running this project and what are they all about, and that's how we want the people to feel about our project, that they are like
100%.
they are real people that are in it for the long term and in it for the right reasons to help expand our experiences as people too.
Exactly.
That's a good point, because in this NFT space, of course, you can get in early, mint your NFT at like a really reasonable price. It goes to market. You could flip it right then and there to
Right.
make some money. And there are people that is exactly what's aligned with where the financial goals are, right? They need to do that. That's fine. That happens. And then you have some projects that are kind of like, okay, like, do you see this being a quick flip? When can you see yourself, seeing like, okay, I bought it for X amount and then now I'm going to see it triple in value, when can I see that moment? And there are times where you're like, okay, well, if you take all that out and you're just like, all right, like, what are they trying to do? What's the goal of this project? Is this something that I'd like to help do as well? You're like, yeah, of course. Then NFTs are cool like that, because then you can essentially put your money, buy an NFT, that money supports that project, right? And if that project grows, your NFT starts to grow. So it's like you're growing with the project that you're supporting. And I think that's something we talked about, right? Like, we grow, you grow, and having this community, you support a community, it starts to grow, and then there's value that you eventually start to see in that piece of digital art.
Yeah, and some people, it's like, yeah, exactly, and that point is exactly what we have always talked about. Like, if you if you see some NFTs are just like a ticket to a concert. There are a bunch of them, right? There's NFT to like a music album. There's NFT to all these things. Like, that's why the beauty of NFT is so great. And to us, it's basically you buying into or coming into a project that will give you all these like access to like different cultures. That's the goal, right? Like, give access to different cultures and unite people that are into diversity. So you kind of like getting a ticket instead of getting a ticket to a concert, which is like a instant reward, right? Like, you buy an NFT, you get a concert. That's it. You stick with the NFT. If that grows. But to us, it's like you're getting into this project through this NFT, and that's it. Like, and like you said, once the project grows, and if you want to make a flip money, do it. But I think the more value that you get from our NFT is being part of this community. Of have access to all these things, and as we grow, we'll keep building more and more to it.
100%.
Yeah, the access is exciting, and that's what's cool about NFTs. Like, you can give access. If it was just a JPEG, if it was just a JPEG, you can't. How do you know? Someone copy and paste that. Like, how do you know who the real owner is? But the fact that it's like tied to the blockchain, It can't be duplicated. It's the technical term non-fungible, right? Like it's cool that you can actually connect with your people, and that is going to change the game. And it already has, but having people that are creating a project not have a mediary in between their community, right? Like it's not like we have Facebook. Even Facebook, let's say if we have our project and Facebook, all of our community members are on Facebook still owns that relationship. Facebook could say like, hey, you know what, you guys are off of Facebook, and then how do we keep track of our people? How do we engage our people? But with NFTs, there isn't that like that media giant that's like controlling that relationship. You really have that ability to connect with your people and not have that go away based off of who the next CEO is of some like $1 billion tech company. So I think like that's or it crashes. So that's pretty exciting that these relationships that we're building now are ones that we're going to be able to nurture, have control over nurturing for the long run. So that's
well, and if you guys if you guys told me like 6 months ago, like, hey, like, let's pretend this is a key. Like, all right, if, I have this key right here, it's going to give me, I have the entry into that house in Brazil, and I own that, right? But if you told me like 6 months ago, like, hey, this digital asset right here, this JPEG right here is going to give you and only this certain group of people access to this house in Brazil, I would have been like, go fly a kite, no chance. But like, are you kidding me? Like, no, it's a trip. Like, and to think like, it's just, I think it's the way of like, it's headed. And to think I haven't even been to Brazil, and like, man, I want to try the picanha on the beach, like, and hit up the vendors right there. Like, are you kidding me? Like, that's amazing. I don't know.
The pineapples aren't the same, but maybe they're the best pineapples.
Maybe they'll beat it.
You go there,
maybe we'll beat it.
there, you're like,
it depends on where we are in Brazil.
Yeah, never mind. This is the best pineapple.
This is the best.
Yeah. Well, it might be a sunset in Rio, and I'm watching the waves crash.
This is the best pineapple I had at night.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, and what's that smell? Oh yeah, that's the best part I've ever smelled. Felipe,
yeah,
you're gonna let that one die down, man.
We won't. You guys
Felipe's hoping we let that die down.
That's never gonna happen.
What was he talking about? He was talking about the fart taco?
We have a lot of it.
Well, on that note.
Yeah.
Right.
On that note,
but it's important that Devin and Ronnie, you make it to Brazil sometime.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And it's important that we make it to Argentina. And when y'all are really, really ready, we'll make
Germany
it to
and Uganda.
All right.
Hey, I'll throw Uganda on the top of that list, man.
Oh, we
need some vaccination. You need some vaccination. Yeah, let's do it.
I need to go to Uganda so bad. Remember when you went and you like took a picture there? Like, oh, it's so sick.
Yeah, no, because you had your T-shirt line that you had.
I had a T-shirt line, and Isaac took it there, and he took a picture like sitting down. It was dope.
Sitting down in the downtown.
What was it? Pursuit? The Pursuit?
Pursuit.
Yeah.
That's
right. I had that shirt for like 20. I had that shirt for like 15 years.
Yeah.
That was 2010.
I thought we weren't plugging our own brands, Felipe. Remember that
I was
time?
trying to avoid it.
That you.
Hey, if LimeWire could make a comeback, you know?
Hey,
You guys hear about that?
LimeWire?
LimeWire is back.
If we haven't heard it,
I did not hear about that. I've never heard it. I haven't heard that.
Yeah, I haven't heard that yet.
I think they're creating their own NFT line, man.
oh, that'd be cool.
Anywho.
Yeah, man.
So let's say if someone's listening right now and they're like, okay, based off of all this, I want to be a part of the movement to really focus on diversity through NFTs. The best way that they can get a hold of us is
if you're watching on YouTube, there's a link underneath that we're gonna put that you could click and it goes straight to our Discord. You can talk to us directly. on the Discord. The Discord channel is the best way to talk to us directly. We're there every day. We talk to everybody.
Under the
But if
collective
you-
chat and the chill chat.
Yeah, if everyone chats there, we could just talk. We're always checking. And if you listening on any podcast platform, Apple Music, Spotify, Google, anywhere, you could find us on Instagram, Groms NFT, at Groms NFT, and then there is a link in our profile that actually you could click and it goes to Discord. If not, you could go to groms.io. That's our website, and then all the information is there. Probably the best way if you're listening, just go to groms.io. It's GROMS.io, and everything is there. Go to our Discord and talk to us. We're aiming to do this. No, we will do this every week. Hopefully, some weeks we do 2. But we're going to be talking about everything. We'll have guests. We'll maybe have like people that are in our Discord that could join us. Maybe this is the beginning of a podcast that is. We just want to be very transparent. We want to talk about everything. So hopefully this will
Yeah,
help.
even if you just wanted to shoot the shit with a couple guys that have been fortunate enough to travel all over the world.
Yeah, exactly. That's just spread this out as much as we can.
100%. Come join the list.
Yeah, come join us.
Get on the list.
On the list.